Quite a number of events here in this part of the world made international headlines this week. And for details on them, I have our Kim Sung-yeon here in the studio with me. Sung-yeon, welcome back.
Great to be back, Sunny. So we have more international coverage regarding North Korea this week. And then we have some new developments on a historical dispute between Korea and Japan. We'll also be talking about a new Korean drama series that's all the buzz on Netflix. And lastly, a medals forecast for the Beijing Winter Olympics. So let's dive right in. Major foreign news outlets were all talking about North Korea's latest missile tests, where it tested its longest-range weapon since 2017. North Korea's missile launch from Sunday sparked fears the nuclear-armed state could resume long-range testing, according to Reuters. Analysts were cited as saying that the tests appear to be aimed at securing global acceptance of its weapons programs. The Associated Press wrote that the Kim Jong-un regime seems to be reviving its old playbook in brinkmanship to get concessions from Washington and its neighbors, particularly amid a protracted diplomatic stalemate. Meanwhile, an expert who spoke to NPR said the North will likely carry out more tests if the U.S. imposes fresh sanctions, with other experts even raising the possibility of a nuclear test as well. In the meantime, they noted that the North could temporarily suspend its weapons tests during the Beijing Winter Olympics in consideration of its most important ally, China.
And staying within the region, Sung-yeon, so Seoul and Tokyo are looking ahead to more fierce debate over historical matters, you say?
Yes, Sunny, so it does look like a bilateral historical dispute between the two sides is deepening as the Japanese cabinet on Tuesday decided that it would seek a UNESCO World Heritage List designation for a gold mine on Sado Island, which began operations 4 centuries ago and closed in 1989. Now, so Korea argues that Japan is looking to cover up its history and the facility's use of forced labor from Korea, expressing great regret over the campaign. The Japan Times said the battle over the mine could set the tone for Japan's ties with Korea following Prime Minister Fumio Kishida taking office in October and Korea set to elect a new president in March. The report further mentioned that the Japanese government has said very little about the human rights conditions at the facility where more than 2,000 Koreans worked during the Japanese colonial era from 1910 to 1945. Furthermore, the report says that the issue has been raised at a critical time when the Biden administration needs Seoul and Tokyo's cooperation on North Korea's latest weapons developments. It noted that the Sado mine dispute could cloud future discussions between Korea, the U.S., and Japan when they meet for discussions on Pyongyang's missile tests.
On a light note now, Sung-yeon, let's talk about the most recent Korean drama on Netflix.
Yes, Sunny. So this show is called All of Us Are Dead, and it is a classic zombie tale set in and around a Korean secondary school, with the show becoming the #1 hit on Netflix in 46 countries. So Variety emphasized that ever since the Squid Game phenomena, global audiences cannot get enough of not only the typical traditional Korean drama fare, but also its thrillers and reality series. All of Us Are Dead made its debut on Netflix's non-English language TV Top 10 list for the week of January 24th through the 30th, with nearly 125 million hours viewed. The report said this marks the most hours watched in the premiere week for any Korean title since the streamer began releasing its Top 10 data last year. The Guardian was also full of praise in its review of the series, noting that the plot is a nod to the world we currently live in, as we mark the 3rd year of a pandemic that has killed millions and devastated families all over the world.
Right, and also on a bright note, Sung-yeon, I understand there have been some favorable forecasts with regard to Korea's medal tally at the upcoming Winter Olympics in Beijing.
Yes, Sunny. So even though Korea actually has said it has a rather modest target this time of winning just 1 or 2 gold medals, it seems that observers from overseas have a much more optimistic view in their medal predictions. So the Associated Press gave its medal predictions for all events, which were released on Tuesday, and it had 4 gold medals and 3 silvers pegged for Korea, including 1 gold by short track speed skater Lee Yoo-bin, in the women's 1500 meter. The other 3 golds predicted included short track speed skater Hwang Dae-han in the men's 1,000 meter, also men's 5,000 relay, as well as snowboarder Lee Sang-ho. Now, regarding Lee Yoo-bin, she was in fact the overall leader in the women's 1,500 meter event during this past International Skating Union World Cup season, with 2 gold medals and 1 silver medal across 4 competitions. Now, following her training session on Wednesday and being told of AP's forecast, Yi said she was flattered, and despite feeling some pressure, she said she would embrace those expectations and use it as a confidence boost.
Right, and our best wishes, of course. All right, Song-yeon, thank you for that coverage.
Thanks for having me.